Hey there guys, what is happening? My name is Sumat Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy and I'm a flow state coach, which means I help you feel better and perform better. Today I want to speak to you guys about flow states and addiction. Alright, now I've met with a lot of different clients who were addicts before and I've taken them through the process of recovering their addictions as well as going through some bad habits in my own past, which I've had to overcome. So I'm speaking at this both from a sympathetic and empathetic point of view. And I understand what it's like to be compulsively drawn to something as if it's such a reward that nothing else matters. And if you think about it, flow state in a destructive way can become an addiction. Okay, let me say that again. Flow state in a destructive way can become an addiction. So, flow state in a productive way, if you can channel that focus, use it for something good, you can. It's a tool. But that tool can also become a weapon. Okay? And it can be used to destroy you as well. So, just like we can focus on reading a book and be so in tune to that, we can also be so focused on gambling and so attached to it that we keep spending our money, and we're caught in this endless race of never feeling good enough, always having to build that tolerance up. So I want you to try to change your paradigm in the case of this. For all addictions, this chemical pathways are the same. The way that I see addictions is coping mechanisms. I call it self-administered pain medication that I got from Teal Swan, okay? Self-administered pain medication. So you're actually running away from some kind of pain, some kind of trauma, something that you don't want to face within yourself. And hey, this addiction is always there for you. It's helping you cope with the pain. Now, there are other ways and healthier ways to cope with the pain. So what you want to actually do is replace the old behavior of the unhealthy addiction and replace it with a healthy obsession that creates the same pathways, but now you're channeling it towards a flow state. So instead of getting that hit from cocaine, maybe you're going for runs. Maybe you're not taking psychedelics, but you're exploring Kundalini yoga. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, you want to actually embrace this newer habit, this newer lifestyle that is overriding the old lifestyle. If you can finally channel that, you can help to elucidate this flow state. And guilt and shame are the worst things that you can make someone feel for something that they want to be free of. If you make an addict feel shameful or guilty, guess what? That's lowest in the consciousness scale, according to Dr. David R. Hawkins. Okay? If we start to shame and distance addicts in the community even more, if we don't start decriminalizing these drugs, if we don't start actually moving forward and getting them back into a community again, it's really going to falter people. You see, this is something by Johan Hari, and if you want, you can watch his TED Talk, but I think it's very powerful because he's said that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. Hold it. And if you think about this, all addiction is that bonding. So are you really smoking weed, or are you bonding with it? Are you consuming porn, or are you bonding with it?
It's actually not cool to be a victim.
Ask yourself that question, because that's going to slowly start to change your paradigm around. The first thing that I would advise you is start to change the relationship with the thing that you are addicted to. Right now, you may feel like it's humiliating. You might feel that it's an awful bad habit, that it's a bad thing. Carl Jung, however, explains this idea of whatever we resist will persist. So if you're pushing that addiction away, you're feeling shame for it even more, that means that every time you actually do the thing and end up doing it again, you're going to feel lower in your self-esteem and your shame. I want you to try to practice ritualizing it, making it something special for you, and not something that you are trying to run away from. You are making it a sacred act. And once you choose to do that, you get much more conscious about your activities. And once you can do it as a sacred task instead of a rushed task, an escapist task, There's a lot of conditioning that happens from culture, especially in terms of addictions. Okay, we look at the junkies and people on the road, and we immediately feel the sense of fear or a disconnection from them, and that's the issue, right? That's the main issue, is because that disconnection is pulling them even further away from society and each other. All these dare campaigns and parents and media are all saying stay away from drugs, but guess what they're still focusing on? They're still focusing on the drugs itself. They're creating an image in the mind of the child or the teenager about the drug itself. So if we say don't do this thing, let's say don't smoke, you're imagining what smoking looks like. You're still focusing on it, you see. So what would be the opposite of that? What would be the opposite of smoking? Well, I guess meditating, breathing, right? So we're still inhaling, we're not doing it in an unhealthy way. So instead, if we incorporate meditation, if we incorporate healthier habits, if we make it cool, you see, the change has to happen from the culture itself, and it has to happen internally. So the thing is, there was a study done, right? This rat park. First, there was a rat isolated, 2 drips. One is cocaine, one is water. A lot of them, chose the cocaine. A lot of them died. However, when there was a rat park, okay, rat park meaning there's stimulation, there's richness in the environment. All these rats are playing with each other. There are all these mazes and different obstacle courses around, and then there's friends along with him. Maybe he's mating. Maybe the rat is making friends. Maybe the rat is eating all this cheese. It has things to do. And they were doing the study, just so you know, with rats, but then they also did studies with war veterans from the Vietnam War who went back into the quote-unquote real world, right? And so when they did that, they started to notice that these war veterans, they were hooked on heroin during that time. When they got back to family, they stopped that habit. They stopped. They recognized how bad that was. When they got that connection, that true, pure connection, instead of that separation feeling, they gave up the habit. Get yourself around a support system. Tell your parents or family if you need to. A lot of addicts that I know, that I worked with, they're liars. They lie a lot. They can't face the truth because it's a shameful activity. So in order for you to remove that shame, you're going to have to take power and not be in denial, okay? We're only as sick as our secrets, as they say in Alcoholics Anonymous. You're going to have to express yourself. And this is why having a support group, going to meetings, this stuff is important. It keeps you in check, it keeps you in a good vibration, it keeps your momentum going. It's important to be heard and felt and appreciated. We as human beings, we're social creatures. If you make us not social, of course we're going to lash out in some way. Your mind will constantly rationalize things. It's really good at that. You want to give yourself proper accountability. Get yourself a recovery coach. I'd recommend a really top recovery coach with a lot of great testimonials over going to a rehabilitation program where they're taking tons and tons of your money, and then perhaps when you're done with that, they're calling you back to the same rehab, and then again streaming out tons and tons of money for that. Okay, you got to enjoy the process of recovery too. You know what I mean? It's like if you're just going there just because you have to, you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to want to improve. But if you make that choice yourself, you hit that crisis moment. Yes, in that moment, you notice the triggers, you notice all of these different things, and you become truthful with yourself. Ultimately, yeah, you're going to rise up. You're going to heal. You're going to recover. Rehabilitation is a business, guys. Okay? I know coaches also have that business model. But first of all, you want to understand that, is this a really trusted source? I think it's important to be around other sober people who are on the journey too. If you're around other addicts, you're still stuck in the paradigm of the addict, of the sustaining, of the survival, of the getting by, of the letting this thing control your mind and having it control you so much that you can't even control yourself anymore. You lose that self-control. So instead, get yourself around a different community. What I've found to help is to rewire your mind, and especially rewire your subconscious mind. There's a lot of subliminals, a lot of brainwave entrainment out there. I'll link one down below. However, I want you to start to notice, what is the thing that you're running away from? What is it you're trying to avoid? Is it maybe a loneliness that you feel? Is it a trauma that you haven't processed? Whatever that thing is, that needs to be explored. You need to feel it in order for you to heal it. And with that being said, I wish you an amazing rest of your day. If you want to get in touch with me, feel free to do so. Hit that subscribe button. May the flow be with you and stay legend.